Buenos días, estudiantes. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre los saludos, presentaciones y despedidas. So, hello, students. Today our topic is greetings, introductions, and farewells. Objetivos lingüísticos. So, some of our objectives today are going to be for you to be able to introduce yourself to others, make small talk, and refer to people by their different titles based on their occupation. Some of our professional objectives are going to be for you as healthcare professionals to be able to develop strategies to ensure good communication because interpreters may or may not always be available where you work. You also need to understand the importance of building trust between yourself and a patient. So starting with trust. In Spanish, we like to say confianza, which basically is a term that talks about establishing trust. Now, as you think of yourselves as healthcare professionals or future healthcare professionals, one of the most important things that you are going to need to learn, probably more important than any vocab that you're going to think of, is establishing trust between yourself and a patient. In Spanish cultures, this is, I would say, much more important than in English-speaking cultures. It is so important to always start out every conversation with a proper greeting. You would never want to go up to someone, unless it's an emergency, and just go right into your conversation. You always want to have that small talk. If you do not, first of all, it is seen as extremely rude, and second of all, they're not going to trust you. And if a patient doesn't trust you, that is going to be a huge issue later when you start asking them, personal information, health information that you need to know, but they might not be feeling comfortable enough to give up. So, please take this very seriously, even though, if you were raised in an all English speaking country, like here in the United States, where this might not seem very important, it really is important in a Spanish speaking culture. I cannot stress this enough. You always, always want to respect cultural points in addition to learning the Spanish language. It's just going to make your life easier. You're going to, have better interactions with your patients, and you're going to become a better professional as a result. So having said that, let's get started with saludos. So I'm sure that everyone taking this class, or I would hope, knows hola. So hola is one of the most common words you've heard. Many people know it without even taking a Spanish class. So hola, that's your first saludo. Here's a list directly from your book of some of the most common saludos in Español. So on the left, you're going to have the Spanish, and on the right, the English. So I'm just going to go through just so you get used to hearing these words. We're going to practice in this class. So the more you can kind of pause this video, listen to it a couple times, just listen to the pronunciation, try and hear it when you're out and about listening to Spanish speakers. The more practice you get, the easier it will become, and this should become second nature, especially these common phrases. So let's get started on the list. As I say each word, I would encourage you to repeat it at least once, if not 50 times, because again, the more you practice, the easier it really will become. So, hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. ¿Cómo está usted? ¿Cómo está? Bien, gracias. Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted? Okay, we're going to do that list one more time. And again, please repeat it after me. Hola. Buenos días. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. ¿Cómo está usted? ¿Cómo está? Bien, gracias. Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted? Okay. Now we're going to talk about presentaciones. So how do you introduce yourself? How do you introduce others? This is also very important when learning a language. So again, I'm going to go over the list on the left. Just listen for, how things are pronounced, and please repeat after yourself. Repeat after me, just so you kind of get in the habit of speaking Spanish and getting used to the accent. ¿Cómo se llama usted? Me llamo. Mi nombre es. Yo soy. Mucho gusto. Encantado. Encantada. Es un placer. Igualmente. El gusto es mío. Le presento a. Él es. Ella es. Okay, otra vez. Let's do it again. Please repeat after me. ¿Cómo se llama usted? Me llamo. Mi nombre es. Yo soy. Mucho gusto. Encantado. Encantada. Es un placer. Igualmente. El gusto es mío. Les presento a. Él es. Ella es. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out on this slide is that, as you can see where it says encantado, encantada, you have two choices. This is just something you're going to have to get used to in Spanish, that there are different genders associated with certain words that you're going to be using. So if you are a male, or if you identify as a male, you are always going to say encantado with the O at the end. If you identify as a female, you are always going to say encantada with the A at the end. It means delighted to meet you, nice to meet you. So it's just something to memorize that, if you're male, encantado, if you're female, encantada, no matter what. So I just want to point that out to you. There's a couple things here that might not make too much sense because you're just getting started. But literally, if you can just start memorizing these vocab lists, it's really going to help you as you start to meet and greet patients. And the more you practice, the better your accent is going to sound. I don't expect anyone, to have a perfect accent the first time that they try and speak Spanish, because it is a lot different than English. But the more you can kind of try, to practice in any situation that you come across, the better. And, if you make a mistake, that's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. And the more that you make mistakes, the more you're going to learn from it, and the better you're going to be at Spanish. So please keep trying. I know, sometimes it's embarrassing if you pronounce something incorrectly, but the more you try, the better you will get. And also, if you are interacting with a Spanish-speaking family or patient, just that effort that you're making is going to go a long way. Okay,